Hi everyone, I hope this finds you well. This is the Devar Torah slash video blog for Parshas Lecha 5781. Last week we talked about Noach, and Noach is compared to Avraham Avinu. Noach, as we know, it says, Tamim haya b'dorasav, Noach was pure in his generation. Multiple opinions from the times of Chazal. Is that a praise? Is that denigrating Noach? But compared to Avram, he's considered to be, by most, less than Abraham and the subsequent generations. What I wanted to focus our attention on for the next few moments is that Noach, according to the Ibn Ezra, it says Tamim haya b'dorasav. In his generation, he was righteous, he was pure, he was thought of very highly. But the Ibn Ezra says it's just very simple, is that he lived a very long period of time. He lived during the generation before the flood, of the flood, then after the flood, and he lived during the time of Migdal Bavel, the Tower of Babel, as we talked about last week. And he actually lived when Avram Avinu lived. So the Torah needs to tell us B'dorosav, meaning his primary generation, because he lived so long, he spanned many generations, several generations. And indeed, Avraham Avinu, the main character that we learn about, finding the Almighty, starting monotheism, starting Judaism. So Avraham, he was 48 years old at the time of the Tower of Babel, and he already knew something was up. He was trying to figure out the world around him. But Noach was also around. And unfortunately, Noach was so to himself. He was so narrowly focused. He was so ineffective when it came to reaching out to others, that between Avram not yet being ready and Noach not being open enough towards looking out for other people. So indeed, the unfortunate events of Migdal Bavel and them trying to contend and compete against the Almighty, that came up. More than that, there's another part of this story, which is that we know when Noach passed away, we're told Avram was 58 years old. Noach was around. He was in the world when Avram was put on trial. As we know, Avram was put on trial by the king, by Nimrod, because he was trying to start a revolution of sorts. As we're told, he destroyed the idols of his father, the idols of the shop of his father. And indeed, the question can be asked, where was Noach when Avram was being prosecuted and tortured and thrown into a fiery pit because of his beliefs? Noach was nowhere to be found. Noach didn't come to Avram's rescue. He didn't come to say anything on his behalf and his defense. He kept to himself. So when we understand the position that exists within our tradition, that Noach's greatness was limited, within that school of thought, we'll leave the other perspective of his greatness for a different time, for a different class, or for a different Devar Torah. But according to this perspective, that Noach's greatness was limited, we understand that he left Avram high and dry. And it was only years later when Avram finally had the strength and the courage and the clarity to go at it on his own and to make sure to lead the world towards this new way of thinking. And so Noach was not able to have that impact, and therefore our ancestor, our patriarch, the leader, the father, so to speak, of the Jewish people, was Avram, was not Noach. Our great leader that led us to where we are today, and we understand who our ancestors are, who are most directly connected to our ideology. It's not Noach, it's Avram. For that reason, that Avram was connected and effective in reaching out to others. He had so many followers, so many students, so many disciples following in his footsteps, literally following in his footsteps, as we're told, as he leaves the land, as he leaves his home to go out and listen to Hashem. And so, to go to Canaan. And so may the Almighty give us the ability to understand the difference between Noach and Avram, to understand that we need to concentrate on how we can be most effective in reaching out to others, connecting with others, and not just being for ourselves, to our own families, but understanding that we exist within a broader society to hopefully enrich society intellectually, just as Abraham did so many years ago. Thank you all and have a great Shabbos.